Everything out of me. They gonna get a Super Bowl out of me. Believe that. Believe that. I'm a Raven. It's on. All year. Every year.
Welcome in again, everybody. Today we're going to be covering my winners and losers from the Ravens' Week 2 preseason loss to the Washington Commanders. Ravens lost 28-29. It was a good game. It was a fun game. And I think despite the fact that the Ravens lost this game, I found more positives than the game that they won against the Eagles. And I'll kind of explain what I mean by that later. But so for this one, sort of like before, I have winners and I have losers. I have more winners than losers this time, like I did last time, but I have 6 winners and 4 losers, and most of the winners are going to be on the offense, and a lot of that is just having to do with the fact that the way that the game played out, the Ravens defense, which was mostly some second stringers, but third and fourth stringers, roster bubble guys, practice squad guys, and depth pieces were kind of going up against Washington's first, or at least a good amount of their first string starters for at least the first half of the game. So first, we're going to go over the winners, and then we'll go over the losers. I know last time I kind of went back and forth, flip-flop between the two, but this time we're just going to do straight winners and then losers from there. Hey guys, real quick. If you're enjoying the video so far, go ahead and give it a like. And if you want more, you can head over to my channel and hit that subscribe button while you're there. Also, if you know anyone who is a Ravens fan that might enjoy this video, please share it with them. Alright, let's get back to the video. So, my first winner for this week is Josh Johnson, which I know I gave him a hard time after the first week, but he definitely bounced back this week. You can see I got the stats up on the page. 10 for 12, 145 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception, and 3 rushing attempts for 12 yards. I gave him a B+ for his effort today. Even the interception was, I wouldn't say it was 100% his fault, but, you know, it happened. If not for the interception, his numbers would have looked even better. It would have been like 11 for 12 for 150-some yards and, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions. But anyway, moving on. Next winner that I have is Justice Hill. And even though, again, it doesn't seem like he did very much, 2 rushing attempts for 25 yards. I think he had a 15-yarder and a 10-yarder, and then 1 reception for 13 yards. I give him a B for his effort, mainly because, this is our 3rd string running back. I'm floored by the depth that we have at some positions, and running back is one of them. We just have running backs in spades right now, and they're all very good. I'm actually very impressed with Justice Hill. I'm impressed with his recovery. It seems like people kind of forget sometimes that he was injured in the preseason of 2021, the same time that Gus Edwards and J.K. Dobbins were injured, and he actually seems to have come back even more explosive, more decisive. It almost seems like he has more burst than before his injury. I don't know if that's accurate or if it makes sense, but he's looking really, really good, and I think my early season prediction for his production might be a little bit off. I might have undersold him a little bit, especially with how the Ravens seem to be using him so far. All right, next up, Zay Flowers. Yeah, again, not going to talk too long about this. He's just fun to watch, man. He's 2 receptions, 37 yards, 1 receiving touchdown. He gets an A+. He doesn't belong out there with some of those guys. He's just such an athlete. He's, like I said, he's so fun to watch, right? He gets the ball in his hands, and you're just excited with the anticipation of what he's going to be able to do. And I truly believe that not very many other Ravens have had that quality in the last few years. The only other one that I can really think of, or at least 2 that I can think of, is Lamar Jackson and Mark Andrews. And those guys are Pro Bowl, All-Pro talents. So I'm really excited to see what Zay Flowers can do with, some other guys around him and more opportunities than just the first series. But I don't really want to see him in the 3rd game. I don't think we need to. I don't really want to. It's not worth the risk. As much as I want to see him play, I'll wait till the first game against Houston. He can ball out there. Next up, Travis Vokalek. He had a couple of good pass catches last game that kind of surprised me. I didn't really know too much about him before the game started, but I mean, he had nice long catch on the sideline against the Eagles. And this one, he three receptions, 28 yards, 2 receiving touchdowns. I mean, that's an A+. I mean, it is, especially because this is our 4th string tight end, and I'm concerned that he won't even make the practice squad. I mean, we're not keeping 4 tight ends. That's ridiculous to even consider. But this guy is so good that he probably could be, a number 2, or even, I don't think he'd be a number 3, but he could be a number 2 on another team that's in need of another pass-catching tight end. So, last offensive winner is Tylan Wallace. And, I mean, stats not crazy. 1 reception, 7 yards. He does have another receiving touchdown, so that's his 2nd receiving touchdown in as many games. I gave him a B, and it's not, like, I say he's a winner not because he had, like, some out-of-his-mind, like, he didn't play out of his mind or anything like that, right? It's just he, put even more distance between himself as that number 6 wide receiver and everybody else that's fighting for that number 6 wide receiver spot. I mean, he has, he's taken the lead, and he's kind of running away with it. I think it would be a little bit tricky and unrealistic that someone else could come into the 3rd preseason game and usurp his position at this point. He would have to have a really bad game in conjunction with somebody else that was already up there, like a Laquan Treadwell or someone like that. They would have to have like an amazing game, like a 7-8 catch, 2 touchdown game where they're just dominating everybody. But like I said, probably not going to happen. So Tylan's looking good for that 6th spot. All right, last winner, Ardarius Washington. He's my only defensive winner, but like I said from beforehand, the Ravens defense was put in a disadvantageous position, but that might have been a little bit of a good thing as well, just to really see what our depth looks like against starters. He had 10 total tackles, 5 solos, 3 passes defended. I mean, the picture on the screen kind of tells it all, right? That play. I just think that Ardarius Washington is currently the defensive embodiment of playing like a Raven. He's gritty, he's tough, he's out there to hit somebody and shake things up and do whatever he can to make a play at whatever position or whatever he's being asked of. In this play in particular, I remember watching it happen live, and he's kind of failing to get to the receiver. He's not quite able to get there, but just when the guy probably thinks he's comfortable and he's got it well in hand, he just comes in there and he just slaps it out perfectly. I mean, what a beautiful strike. And that was an excellent play by him. All right, so let's get into the losers. And the first loser that I have here is Anthony Brown. And I don't think as you can see by my grade, I gave him a C because he's not a loser in the sense that, like, he had a really bad game. I mean, he didn't. He actually had a better game than he did against the Eagles, statistically and the eye test. I mean, he just looked better. He looked more comfortable. He just looked good. I mean, his passing numbers are still leaving a good amount to be desired, right? He's 6 for 10 for 40 yards. But he's got 2 touchdowns and an interception, which was on a Hail Mary. And, he turned the ball over, but, I mean, what do you want to do? There's 9 seconds left in the game. You're trying to get yourself into a position where Tucker can kick that, 70-yard field goal or whatever. But, and again, rushing the ball, 4 attempts, 37 yards, still dangerous with his legs. So, I mean, even though he's the loser of the quarterback 3 battle is basically what this is, because Josh Johnson, I think, has the number 3 spot well in hand. I think Huntley, so far from what he showed us in the Eagles game, is still the number 2. And I think Anthony Brown is a good practice squad quarterback, that I think we'll be able to keep on the team, on the practice squad. All right, next up, James Prochet. I mean, the only thing I'm really going to mention about James Prochet, I'm not going to talk about his stats. I gave him a D. It would have been an F if he didn't catch anything at all. But, I mean, it's bordering on that anyway, because the only 2 interceptions that either of our quarterbacks threw were passes to James Prochet. The first one is the one pictured here in the end zone, which, yes, it was underthrown. He had pressure in his face, and whatever else. But I mean, as soon as the ball is not in Prochet's hands anymore, and it hit him in the hands, I mean, he was running out towards the wall. He didn't even turn around to come back. He didn't try to make a tackle. He just gave up on the play. And if you're James Prochet, that's the last thing that you can afford to be doing. The other one was the Hail Mary, and Tylan Wallace was there, and he went up between two defenders and tried to make a play on the ball. James Prochet didn't. He put his arms down, and he eventually made the tackle afterwards, but there's just no effort. I feel like he's kind of accepted that he's not making this team. Second to last loser is cornerback depth. Even though it's a loser, I still gave him a C. Because again, I mean, they allowed 297 passing yards, 3 touchdowns. They got 1 interception on them. They had a total of 28 tackles. I'm not including the safeties on this. So like Ardarius Washington and the others are not included on this. But 28 tackles, 2 tackles for loss, and 4 pass breakups. So, I mean, it's not awful. It's just, I heard several people say, oh, well, they looked really good out there considering they were going against starters and their depth guys. And it's like, yes, but we're going to have to maybe rely on some of these guys to go against starters. That's what concerns me, is some of these guys, I know not all of them, but if you have a depth guy out there and on one side you have Rock Ya-Sin and the other side you have Marlon Humphrey, who do you think they're throwing against? They're throwing against the depth guy. So you're only as strong as your weakest link, and for this secondary, it's some of our depth cornerbacks. Now, yes, having a good safety duo and even some good depth on safety as well, and even the linebackers that we have, the inside linebackers, can patch some of that up. But, I mean, we don't know when Marlon's coming back. We don't know when Rock is coming back. Hopefully before the season for Rock, but, I mean, I just don't think you can count on these guys yet. I mean, overall, I'm impressed with their play, but it just is not starter material, All right. Last loser is the national media, because they cannot talk about the Ravens' preseason streak anymore, which, if you were listening to the game at all last night, listening to Troy Aikman and Joe Buck talk about it, especially Joe Buck, he's not going to have anything to talk about. That's all he was talking about was the streak, and oh, is this going to be it? Like do a little bit of, play-by-play. Talk about the players that are playing in the game. Talk about, how some of these guys look in these situations. Like, talk about football. Don't talk about the streak, because, while I won't go back and forth about whether it was meaningless or whether it mattered or whatever else or counted, no, it wasn't meaningless, but it doesn't count either. But again, the focus is on the players that were on the field now, not this unbroken streak that has already surpassed a record a while ago. It's unnecessary. So I'm hoping that in the game against Tampa Bay, they actually pay attention and talk about the players that are playing and, what they're actually seeing on the field from them. But, crazy for me to hope for that, I guess. Anyway, so those are my winners and losers. Like I said, overall, I think it was a better game than the Eagles, even though they didn't come out with the win. But I liked what I saw from a lot of guys. Some honorable mentions and stuff. Travis Jones, they all played pretty well. So, but yeah, all right. Well, that's going to do it for me. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below if you have some guys that maybe you think I missed, and then some other thoughts or whatever that you have about the upcoming game against Tampa Bay. All right. Have a good one.